Hello again, and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. This is Deanne, and today I thought we might talk a little bit about crystals and their association with different tarot cards. So, in my first video, which was a hashtag My First Tarot, I explained how I came to have 3 tarot decks at once as sort of my first 3 when I got back into tarot. One of those decks was the Crystal Tarot by Philip Permutt, and here's this book because there are a few different decks called the Crystal Tarot, right? So if you're searching, this will help you kind of identify that a little quicker. So when I first chose this deck, it wasn't really that I was super intrigued by the artwork or anything like that, especially the face cards, the quartz and things weren't exactly my favorite art style. But that being said, at the time, I did not really have this whole view of all the different options that I know exist now. So all of that being said, it's not to knock the deck or anything. It's been a great worker deck for me, and this is the one that I use most often when I'm doing in-person readings at the shop where I work. So it has been an awesome, reliable deck, gives really awesome readings, and because it has the crystal associations, that has really helped to just add a layer onto other readings that I do, even if I'm not using this deck. I use this one so often that when Ace Swords comes up in another deck, if I'm doing a reading for my own business, then I still think about this crystal. I think about the pink tourmaline that shows up here for this Ace Swords. So it's still kind of always in the back of my mind, even if I'm not using this deck. So basically, I thought we might look at how the different crystals might relate. And the reason that I have aces and eights is because also in this deck, there are associations to different chakra points. So figured why not start with the base. So the base chakra or root chakra relates to the ace and the 8. That being said, I should say that there are, I'm sure, other renditions of what those associations should be. I have a couple other decks I think that also use the chakra points in relation to the cards. Thought about after this video I might try to go through and see exactly how many decks I have that do that and see where those variances and where those differences might be. But for today, I figure why not just look at the one that I'm really comfortable with in using those additional layers. So again, Ace and 8 in this deck both relate to the base chakra. So they're both about moving forward in a sense. So if each tarot card has either stillness or movement associated with it, or some of them, how I feel, are kind of right on the brink, like getting ready for that next step. 8 is one of those cards, right? For me, Ace is that first step on a path, the full potential of what that path might be. And 8 is often needing that kind of first step feeling again. But at this point, you've gone through some of those steps and some of those lessons. So the 8 tends to be a little more angsty, right? It's maybe more difficult to take that first step because your initial first step had this excitement and everything with it, right? It was maybe difficult for different reasons. The 8s tend to be a bit of problem solving and how do I take that next step because it's really going to help me in the long run. And you may, at this point, making that progression through the tarot, you may have some stress or distress or baggage by this point, by the 8. So they're both about taking first steps, but the 8s tend to be a little trickier because there's that problem solving to work through. So let's kind of scale back. I'm getting a little carried away here. So again, pink tourmaline for the Ace Swords. And I thought that while I'm showing these, maybe if you want to leave in the comments if you agree with the associations, if they make sense to you. Here we have an abalone shell for the Ace Cups. Or maybe you want to leave in comments what crystal, if any, comes to mind when you see the Ace of Swords. Or maybe you haven't thought about crystal associations with particular cards before. Ace Wands is a green aventurine. So if this is your first time thinking about those associations, what comes to mind in terms of a crystal when you see Ace Wands, if anything? And then our Ace Pentacles is a moldavite. So you will also see, as we're going through these, that the pip cards are just that. One branch to represent the wand. This deck is really cool though because it has the element association on each card. Let me try to do this in order. So here we have 8 swords, which I believe is a bornite or peacock ore. And so we have in the handle or the hilt here the different crystal colors appearing as well, and then a picture of the crystal, and then we have these clouds to represent the air element. 8 wands shows a black opal. 8 cups shows a fire agate. And the 8 pentacles, kind of similarly to that 8 cups, I think, in terms of the stone, is copper. So, let me read just a little bit out of the book, some keywords for the crystals in relation to the cards. So basically, you know, the crystal chosen, I think the message in the book, there's sort of a traditional message, and then there's a line or two about the crystal and how that fuses with the card. Typically, the crystal chosen sort of supports the energy of that card or supports the problem solving needed, right? So that's typically what they signify. So for the Ace Swords with the pink tourmaline, also called albite, if you're familiar with that one. So this says, pink tourmaline enhances creativity, bringing new ideas and the ability to see situations differently. So about a new beginning, a new thought, and a new fresh perspective. And that's what the pink tourmaline provides in addition to this message for the card, right? The stone for each card is used to enhance or promote the energy of the card or the suggestion that the card is giving us. So that's just an example there. Let me see for the Ace Cups, for the abalone shell, just to give you sort of an idea. This one says, abalone shell, a feminine stone that lets you see the beauty around you, helps you release emotions that might be holding you back from finding love. So that is an example, just a one line about the crystal, how it kind of works in conjunction with the traditional message of the card. So, let's see. So the chakras, the reason, again, that we have the aces and the 8s out here today is because they both relate to the base or the root chakra. So a lot of these are about, in my opinion, that root or base energy, feeling safe, having your basic needs met so that at the very least you feel safe enough to take that first step on the path, whatever it might be. So for Ace Cups, I've turned open, this book starts with cups, so we'll just start there. So for this, it says, focus your energy on your base chakra to keep you grounded during this heady time, or you might get too carried away. So the chakra often works sort of as a counterpart to the card, right? Something to keep you grounded, right? There should be this freedom and this idea of a new emotional connection with yourself or possibly with another. I tend to read Ace Cups as a personal thing, but again, the chakra point tends to, again, either reinforce moving forward or the safety of being able to move forward in terms of the base chakra, Or as a counterpart, right, with the water element, we may have too much of that kind of freedom and flexibility. And as the book says, lest we get carried away, the base chakra will help in this instance to keep us grounded. So on the contrary, let's see what it says about Ace Pentacles. So we have, oh, and let's read the crystal for this one too, since we're here. Moldavite opens the mind to possibilities and will help you channel your intentions. So about the chakra, it says, focus on your base chakra to drive you forward with balanced energy. So that's kind of two different examples of how they incorporate those. Again, more of an anchor here for the Ace Cups and more of a motivating force here for Ace Pentacles. So now that you kind of have a little idea, a little taste of what the book offers in describing these associations, do you think that you agree or disagree with those? Or do you envision an entire suit having one crystal? I believe that's how I've seen on Becca's channel before, Becca Talks and Tarot. I will link that in the description. That she has a deck, I believe it's called the Crystal Power deck, and I always think about getting that because again, I work in the crystal shop and it might be nice to have a different deck to throw in every once in a while. And I do when I have repeat clients or friends come in who I've read for before. I don't always use this deck in there, but it is a really nice place to start. So while you're looking at these, do you have crystal associations for particular cards or particular suits? I would love to know what you think about these, or if you already have some that you use. I was sort of thinking, for many reasons, maybe just as an exercise or something, that in my tarot journal, I might, even though I have these kind of very cemented in my mind as, green aventurine goes with Ace Wands, black opal goes with the 8 Wands, I might try to come up with a different crystal for each card, just to kind of expand that and see what other things I think might be a good match. So if you want to play along or think you might fill something out in your journal to go along with this, I think I might go through, have a few videos devoted to this kind of crystal and chakra associations. So when you think Ace, do you think base or root chakra, or do you think something else? And I should point out that this book, they just go in order. So the Aces starts with the base, 2s would be sacral, 3 would be solar plexus, so on and so forth. And then that goes through 7. So this just considers the quote unquote main 7 chakras. So then the next number 1 would be the 8. So that's why we have Ace and 8 as the base. And then 9 is sacral, 10 is solar plexus, so on and so forth. So do you agree with the chakra points used for these associations? Do you agree with the crystals? And what might you choose in place of a bornite or a peacock ore for 8 swords? What do you think of that would help the 8 swords situation? What's a crystal that would sort of meld in with that energy to help you get moving in that 8 swords kind of moment, or in this Ace Wands kind of moment, right? Maybe with the fire element and the ace, maybe that's a lot of forward energy, and maybe and like in this case, the green aventurine, maybe there's another stone that you like that helps to keep you grounded and paying attention to details and not getting carried away like some of these other aces have mentioned. So just a quick little thing today. Thought we would start here with the Ace and the 8s from this particular deck, and I hope to be back soon with a video about the 2s and the 9s, talking about sacral chakra and the crystals associated with those cards. So again, if you're interested, leave some comments below about your thoughts on the video or what crystals you might use in place of these, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Love to you all.